Hey there. Today, I'm bringing you something a little bit different. I invited 3 friends to join me to sit down to talk about what their online teaching journey looks like. Now, these 3 people are moms. They've got 1 kid, they've got multiple kids. They teach in one place, multiple places, business owners, creators. You're going to see the whole gamut of online teaching here. Now, my purpose behind this, the heart behind this, is that this would give you a look into what your online teaching journey could look like. So here's my challenge for you. Grab a drink, whether it be cold or hot, take a seat, and pretend like this is a little bit of a professional development moment. The idea here is to cast some vision. I want you to sit down and think, what could my online teaching journey look like in a year? Do you want to maintain the status quo? Just feel comfortable where you're at in your personal life, in your professional life in the next year. Do you want to add on and grow? Take a look at the steps that these people have taken, and I want you to see what you might do in the next year to grow your teaching business, if that's something that you're looking to do. If you are sparked in any way, leave a comment below telling me what you came away with from this video. I would love to hear what you're going to do to make your teaching more personal and more joyful for you, whatever that may look like. I hope you enjoy. All right. Hey, Ashley, thanks so much for joining me. I would love to talk to me about how you got to this point in your teaching career.
Sure. Thank you so much. So my teaching career started like a lot of people, right? I started out in a traditional classroom setting, a public school, teaching elementary school, and then I decided to have kids. And after we had our son, we realized that dropping him off at daycare was not really what we wanted to be doing anymore. We were that family that our kid always cried at drop off, and they kept telling us it would get better, but it never did. So we decided to make a big change, and that I would leave teaching and be a stay-at-home mom. And I had some not great experiences in the public school setting with teachers that were very competitive or didn't want to collaborate, and some admin stuff, and just all those things that teachers often struggle with in public school setting. So I sort of thought, all right, well, maybe I just wasn't meant to be a teacher after all. And, I'll just do something else. So at that time I was working with an online marketing, network marketing company. And I was meeting a lot of really cool entrepreneurs and cool people and doing a lot of networking. And I started sort of building myself with personal development. And that helped me to realize that I actually really missed teaching. And so I started working for VIP Kid. This was a long time ago. This was like 8 years ago, I feel like now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were like the early
Yes. Side. Yes. Way before everything happened with the way they are now. Yeah. So I started working for them, and that was great because it helped me to fall in love with teaching again. And it also really showed me that children were learning online now, which was a pretty new concept and very new to me. My experience with online learning and teaching before that had only been as a college student. And so the way a college student learns online would never work for a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old,
Sure.
And so VIP Kid really showed me, wow, okay, we can use like video conferencing and we can share the screen, and like, this is amazing. So if they're doing it, I bet there's other people doing it too, maybe even on their own privately. And that's what sort of got the wheels turning and got me researching teaching online. And it was probably a year after I started working for them, I launched my own online reading tutoring business. So, and then, it's grown from there. This will be 5 years this spring that I've had my business, and we had another baby in the meantime. So we have 2 kiddos now, and we've been able to homeschool and be home with them, and I get to choose when we drop them off places, and what, really have a lot more choice over that, which has been great. And it really started as a part-time business to supplement. My husband was working full-time, and I just wanted to help pay for the groceries and, all of those things. And then he ended up losing his full-time job. And this was when my business had maybe been in business about a year. And so it was still pretty small, very part-time. And I was obviously really concerned because we had 2 young kids and he was the primary earner at that point. So we decided to sort of go all in with the tutoring business and see if we could grow it. We would give it like a year and see what happened. And thankfully I was very motivated, right, to grow it. And I've been able to really replace my teaching income with the income from my business.
Oh, so cool. And and you're being modest, Ashley. It's grown, I think, a little bit beyond, this, this little tutoring company. I mean, you are a connector of many, many sorts. And I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have learned a lot from you. So very cool, including a podcast, including a summit.
Yes. Well, I could say to add on, I know a lot of people who are watching this maybe are just starting out or thinking about growing. And that is, in the beginning, that's all that it was. And it was tutoring, and that was the focus. And you're right. Now it has really grown into a bigger brand where there is the Reading Project podcast, which has just been a really great way for me to connect with other amazing educators, meet people all over the world, and also really serve families in another way that they can, access this content that's not just for me, but I can bring amazing educators. I can bring their knowledge to other families too. And it's my podcast is free for families to consume. So if someone comes to me and needs help with a specific, I'm having trouble with writing, or I think my child might be dyslexic, like I have all of these amazing podcasts that I can pull on to send to them and really start to develop the trust and the relationship with that potential client. So
huge.
Deep
resource base.
Awesome. So that's been amazing. And once I started networking with other educators there, I just really got inspired and wanted to bring more knowledge to this group of people teaching online, right? Where there's a lot of us out there, and there's this wealth of knowledge. And I just really deeply believe in the power of collaboration. And that's really what has driven my business. And so that's why I decided to start the summit, the Teachers Make Money Online Summit, because I wanted to bring together just a really dynamic group of educators that also believed in collaborating and wanted to support and help other teachers grow their businesses.
Yeah. And you have accomplished that. And I love seeing it change. I mean, I've only been privileged to be a part of two. So it's very fun to see. But let's move on. So would you say you've got a lot of hats going on: mom, wife, homeschool mom, business owner, and teacher. So what are the pros and cons of your current situation? I feel like when we kind of boil down our days, and before we started recording, we were just talking about our schedules and what certain days of the week might look like. What are the pros and cons of your current teaching situation?
Yeah, there definitely are a lot. And I think I love that you're asking this question because, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There are some difficult things. So some of the things that are challenging, I would say, schedules change a lot. That was one of the things we were talking about. I feel like, there's a summer schedule, then there's like the school year schedule, and clients come and go. That can be really challenging to both your schedule and your paychecks, right? Or your income. And I think you have to be, really ready to just know, like, when you're doing your job well, right, your clients are eventually going to move on, which is a good thing, right? We want that to happen, but you have to plan for that. So that takes a little bit more thinking ahead, I guess.
Sure.
And I think one of the biggest things that scares a lot of people away from doing this is you do have to be more creative when it comes to like insurance and, taxes and, planning, like all of that stuff. I think when I was a classroom teacher, I always felt like that was just taken care of for me. I didn't really have to think about it at all. And so I really didn't. And now as a business owner, I'm like, we have to be responsible for figuring out where our insurance is coming from and paying quarterly taxes and making sure, all of those things are taken care of. And I just never thought about that before. So I guess it's a pro and a con, really, because it's kind of opened my eyes up to the possibilities. And that's a big hurdle for a lot of people.
Sure. Well, and I think that you're in a unique situation too, because you and your husband are in this together in this single business. For some people, for example, in my case, to add some color to this, my husband has a full-time job where we receive insurance benefits. That may be the case for others. And then others who are perhaps single or on their own and need to figure out what insurance looks like. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because some people, it may be a no-brainer. Oh, I still have my brick and mortar job, or I do have my significant other's insurance, but in this case, super important. I'm really glad you brought that up. It's great.
Yeah. So it is possible. You just have to do some research and figure it out and put it, like, wrap it into your business plan, right? As you're developing your prices and you're thinking about the costs of doing business as a solopreneur or an LLC. I mean, that's part of it. So
absolutely.
But
pros
then,
in there?
Yes, I know. I was gonna say, but then there's a lot of really great things. You know, one of my favorite things about my life now is time freedom and just like a lot of schedule flexibility. So, you know, yesterday was a gorgeous day here. I had one client in the morning, but I was able to move them to another time so that we could go out on a hike because it was, you know, just gorgeous. We wanted to go on this nature walk here near here. So like things like that. Or today I went out Christmas shopping with my mom because she's partially retired and has Fridays off, and I mostly have Fridays off now too. So, you know, that's just been a really big benefit for me. And that's having that time freedom and the flexibility of like when we work also allows us to homeschool, which is another huge pro for us. We started homeschooling just sort of like, oh, you know, it seems like our son needs this, so we're just going to try it out. But now I feel like we're lifers, you know, we're homeschooling. This is our 5th year homeschooling, and it's just seems a lot better for our family, especially as entrepreneurs too, because, you know, we don't have to follow like the rigid public school schedule and system. We can sort of be just more flexible and, you know, it makes it easier to work like afternoons as a tutor because I've already been with my kids during the day, you know,
where I think time blocking is a really important, is that kind of how you manage things? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Time blocking and using our Google Calendar. We live and die by the Google Calendar, we say. And I think it's really helped our marriage too. Like being in this entrepreneur business together has really forced us to like be really good about communicating with each other and talking about what projects we're working on and what are our goals as a family. And like, okay, this is, you know, because there are sacrifices sometimes, you know, if you're, you know, I think there are income dips for a lot of business owners. And so it would be easy to say, well, maybe I should go back to teaching, or I should go back to getting a full-time job. And so like, we have to make sure we're on the same page about like, we want this entrepreneur life because we value the time freedom. We value being able to homeschool the kids. And so, I think there's a lot of communication going on.
Very integral. I mean, everything is just integrated in terms of the values, your kids, and also business stuff. So it's very cool to see how you've juggled that. I really relate, and I am so glad that you're able to articulate this really well. That's really helpful, I think, for a lot of people. Okay, go ahead. I
always want to tell people that, you know, sometimes I'll get messages on Instagram and people will say, well, how do you do it all? How do you homeschool? How do you do the podcast? How do you do it? And the honest truth is I don't do it all. Like I do have my husband sort of here, you know, with me. We share the homeschooling. We have 2 kids. So a lot of mornings, like he takes one and I take the other, and we homeschool, you know, so I'm not even homeschooling both of them. And we are the kind of homeschoolers that, you know, we don't like recreate school at home. We're sort of like flexible. We do follow curriculum, but it doesn't take all day. You know, it takes a couple hours of a day to homeschool, and then they have other interests that they do. And, you know, maybe they go to co-op one day, or they go out to the park, or they play video games or whatever, you know, and then once we finish that initial core subjects, you know, he can take over sort of the primary parenting, and I can come in and work for a few hours. And then on our lunch break, we go for a walk. And then, you know, so it's a lot of going back and forth between like my working hat and then my mom hat, and which I know some people would really struggle with, but for us, you know, and we do struggle some days. We're not immune to struggle. We're just like every married couple. I feel like we have our disagreements for sure, but being so closely involved in the day-to-day, like, you know, work, homeschool, life, parenting, like it's just really forced us to stay in communication with each other, because otherwise it wouldn't work at all.
The wheels fall off. Absolutely. Okay. I appreciate that. Reality check and teamwork and community support, and and that homeschool doesn't take all day. I feel like that's a big misconception, misunderstanding about homeschool, is that, you know, you're recreating school at home. No. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question for people who would be getting started in online teaching now. What advice would you give them? You know, again, like we've mentioned, you've got a lot of online teacher hats in addition to your life hats. So in terms of the online teaching world, perhaps as a homeschooling mom, these minute-to-minute classes are nice if they're lucrative, but if they're not, is there something else you would tell them to take a look at? Maybe passive, something like that, that would be helpful to someone just starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wish I had known more about like multiple income streams when I first started. I know, right? Yeah. I definitely relied on just the tutoring income stream, and you know, my business was pretty solid before the pandemic happened. So once the pandemic happened, I was really full with tutoring students. Like I really didn't have time to do anything else anyway. You know, I was so busy with clients. But what has happened is since all of those kids have gone back to school and all those things, like there's definitely been a lull in the number of clients I have now. And I'm very grateful that I have established some other income streams, whether it's affiliate marketing, digital products, working with other tutors, you know, and other people who are growing online businesses, helping them with coaching and things like that, because I think it makes it far less stressful when you lose a student, right? Because we know there's going to be students that come and go. So you have to sort of, I wish I'd prepared better for that in the beginning and ask for help sooner.
Okay. And how would you ask for help? Who are you asking for help?
I think that I waited a really long time to delegate any tasks to like a VA because I thought I couldn't afford it. You know,
Can you talk about what a VA is if somebody doesn't know what that is?
Sure. Yeah. To a virtual assistant, someone to help in my business, because I just tried to do it all, by myself all the time, you know? And I think a lot of entrepreneurs do that in the beginning because we're growing our business and every penny counts. And, you know, you're just like, I got to just figure this out. Right. And you think you can't afford, either you can't afford it because you think you don't know how much it's going to cost, or you're like assuming, but I think there are people out there that are willing to work for what you can afford too. You know, when I finally decided to get some help, I started with a virtual assistant who I was just really straightforward. And I said, this is how much I can pay you right now. So, you know, maybe I can pay you an hour a week. What can you do for me in an hour a week? Like, these are some of the tasks that I need help with, kind of thing. Yeah. And thankfully she was wonderful and stuck with me, because now I pay her much more than that. And, you know, a regular recurring, she's like, you know, like not an employee because I don't have employees, but like a regular independent contractor for me. So, and she now helps me a ton with the summit. And, I hope that the growth of my business has allowed me to help her as a stay-at-home mom, you know, have her business be successful too.
I love that vision casting too. I mean, it's easy to start out thinking, all right, my bottom line, my time, what am I going to do? But if you do have that mindset of, hey, this could also be bigger, and this could also you know, bless other people and bring in income for others, go for it. That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah. So I think it's good when you can like just be honest with yourself about what you can afford, but know that probably there is someone out there that would be willing to do the work you need for the price you have to offer, you know, because lots of people are looking for all different kinds of work right now. So
very cool. Awesome.
Can I do one more piece of advice?
Absolutely. Full of advice.
You know, I think online tutors, we just tend to undercharge a lot. So, I definitely started out charging, you know, not as much probably as I should have, but we as teachers, I feel like we want to help everyone, and we're nurturers, and there's a lot of money mindset work I feel like that you need to do in the beginning. And one of those is around like your rates. You know, we tend to, there are some tutors I've seen online charging like $15 an hour for a tutoring session. That's just really not enough. So
yeah. Well, and especially if you're teaching on a platform, or you're using curriculum, or you're paying taxes, like figure in all those things and then figure out what is reasonable to charge. That's a really important thing to bring up.
And once you grow, it's like you were talking about before, your vision, like growing my business allows me to then pay, give back, like I think last year I participated with a couple other entrepreneurs creating like art sets for kids to have for Christmas. So like we all contributed a certain amount of money, and then we put together like these really great sets so that some kids could have these under their tree, or so awesome. Like just being able to pour into other people the way I want to. To me, that is my vision for wealth, is like, I just want to be able to take care of my family and take care of my community. And that's why I want to earn more, income.
That's huge. Wow. Very cool. I love the vision, and I love the idea of thinking beyond just the hour. So thank you for that. And thank you for your example. And I love watching everything that you're doing. It's very cool to get to learn from you. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad that our paths crossed.
So you have been a teacher in many capacities. Tell us, how did you get to this point in your teaching career?
So I started out as a volunteer in South America, and I had been studying abroad and really just fell in love with South American culture and all of those things. And so I came back as a volunteer, ended up getting a job as an English teacher in the classroom with absolutely no experience. They hired me because I am a gringa, therefore, like they thought I could teach. But thankfully, I was able to gain some skills, get certified in TESOL. I later went back and got my master's, and then was able to transition to a different teaching situation, and just really fell in love with teaching English, or just teaching in general, especially with kids. That's really where I just thrive. I love working with little ones, and especially in preschool. It's become preschool, kinder, first grade. It's so much fun. Like, I love teaching kids how to read. I love teaching them English. And and then pre-pandemic, about year and a half, 2 years, I found a side hustle, so as they call them, teaching with VIP Kid, which later died, but it was a really good experience. And it was just a really good experience in that it very much prepared me for what was coming with the pandemic. No one could have seen the pandemic coming, but I think those of us who were already teaching online were able to much more easily adapt to what happened if we were in regular teaching situations, that whole online switch. It helped me learn how to keep my classes engaging online. It helped me learn how to just keep that energy up, working at weird hours, all of those things. So during the pandemic, my husband and I started our own online teaching gig, and we did that for a while. Then my husband went back into a brick and mortar classroom. I stayed at home, and now we have our son. So I'm back online teaching kind of part-time at this point.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. And for your current teaching situation, what would you say the pros and cons are? With a new baby, there's a lot to take into account here.
Yeah. Oh, no, there definitely is. One thing I will say kind of about my current situation and the previous situation. So when my husband and I started our own online teaching gig, we were working with local students in our own local time zone. And that basically meant that everybody wanted classes after school or after work. And so working those evenings, when my husband was home too during the pandemic, that was perfect. However, when he went back to the brick and mortar classroom, it meant I didn't see him. And so that wasn't working for us. And so when I went on maternity leave, we decided we weren't going to continue with that. And so when I was approached for this new teaching job, right about when I was about to go on maternity leave, I was like, okay, well, this would be good, because when I worked with VIP Kid, the thing I liked the most about it is that it was a side hustle, and that the schedule just didn't conflict with anything else. So teaching students, I'm currently teaching students halfway around the world in Asia. And so it's very helpful for me, because I can do it while my baby's still sleeping and while my husband is still home before he has to go to work. So even if the baby wakes up, it doesn't conflict with his work schedule, and the baby's happy usually in the morning. So it just works out really well. And so I really do like that.
That's awesome.
That's
Any
a
cons?
pro.
Yeah.
Cons. Cons, I think, so when I was working for a big company online, they had all their own curriculum. Everything was planned out. I was able to just literally 5 minutes before class, roll out of bed, sit there and just teach. And it wasn't really actually teaching as much as tutoring. And so if you wanted something that was very quick and easy, VIP Kid was that thing. And I'm sure there's other companies that are doing something similar now. However, I didn't have any control over what I taught. I had a lot of restrictions about what I could say. And there was also a lot of barriers between me and the parents or the kids. So when we saw hard things like kids getting yelled at or things like that, it wasn't that there was no power. There was no way to change anything. However, with my current situation, there's a lot more communication. I'm not connecting directly with parents, but I feel like there will be a much more fluid relationship in that respect. I have more power over what I can teach and what I can talk about. I feel a lot more comfortable with it. It is more work. However, I think it's more rewarding. So
sure. It's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Okay. And talking about pre-pandemic, Danny, maybe before you were just starting out, what advice would you give that person and setting them up for the adventure to come?
Okay, first of all, don't buy all the things. you don't need all the things. I can't tell you here. I have all, oh, you can't see it.
Oh my gosh.
I have all of these millions of props that I spent hours and hours and hours laminating. Hold on, let me see. Here we go. I do use a lot of these fairly often.
Can I just say I admire your organization? Mine is like in an old diaper wipe box.
In what?
Mine is in like a wipe box. This is like the mess.
I spent so much time like getting all these magnets and all these things. I do use some of them, but I actually found that, so this is just a piece of green foam.
Oh, nice.
And I love my virtual backgrounds. I love my virtual rewards. So if I was going to tell an online teacher, if you are tech savvy at all, just go virtual, like ManyCam, or gosh, there's some other ones that are available. It's cheaper. It's easier once you get the hang of it. Yeah. It's so you can take it anywhere if you have it installed on your laptop and you don't have to have all these extra props. I really like it. I think, yeah, having a fast computer is important. Sure. I will say that. A good internet connection, and then just keep it to a minimum. Don't get caught up in like, oh, I need like an extra light. I have a good light in my office, but you don't need all the things.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I just got a ring light on my camera. That's all the difference it makes. Yeah, so it's not necessary.
It's nice if you want it to. It depends. Like there are times when I want to use the ring light, so having one is handy, especially when I'm traveling and I'm in a bad lighting situation. So I'm not saying don't have like certain little things, but don't spend hours laminating 10 million props that in all of the different subject areas, because it's just not necessary. I would say my definite must-haves would be a whiteboard, although I do have like a virtual whiteboard I use on ManyCam as well. A whiteboard, maybe a puppet, virtual rewards or props, and a good light. So if you're planning to travel, make sure you have a good go with light or something. Sure. But and maybe a pair of headphones. You've got those headphones on, good girl. I ditched my headphones a while ago, but they are helpful and can help a lot with the sound. So
yeah, feel you. All right. You rock. Thank you so much. I love hearing your story. I love even learning about what you've been doing even since we met during our VIP day. So yay and onward. Can't wait to see what we do next. Hey, Olivia, good to see you. Thanks for coming. And I would love to hear, how did you get to this point in your teaching career?
Yeah, well, I was one of those people who always knew they wanted to be a teacher. Studied elementary education and special education and got a dual degree there. And then I went on to teach third grade and fourth grade, each for a few years in public school. Loved it. Not a bad thing to say about it. Had an awesome time as a brick and mortar teacher. And then it was time to start a family and everything. So I found I was pregnant at the beginning of one school year, and I knew I wanted to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom, but I also knew I wanted to continue teaching in some capacity, both for a little bit of income, but also just to, still be in touch with my passion and gift for teaching. So that my last year as a brick and mortar teacher, I started teaching online for VIP Kid, just a couple hours a week, just to see how I liked it, if it'd be a good fit. And I ended up really, really enjoying it. So after our daughter was born, I left my brick and mortar teaching job and taught online with VIP Kid for a few years. It was a really, really great fit for our family. I got to, work, about as few or as many hours as I wanted for the most part. While our daughter was sleeping at night or early morning, mostly early mornings for us. It was just a great fit. And then from there, kind of transitioned from VIP Kid to Brain Train, another company. I've had a great experience there as well. And then I also do a little bit of teaching for another company called Budbee. So it's kind of just transitioned, but it's been wonderful because it's really transitioned with the needs of our family. As we've had, another child, and, capacity to work goes up and down based on their age and sleep schedule. Because I really do all my teaching while they're sleeping, either at night or in the morning. So that's kind of how I've gotten here, and it's been a great fit for me and for our family.
That's awesome. Oh, it's so fun to hear the whole arc. All right. And what would you say are the pros and cons of your current situation? You said you've got Budbee, you've got also Brain Train. What would you say are the pros and cons of those?
Lots of pros, very, very few cons. The biggest pro in a nutshell is just flexibility. I can honestly say in the past 3 or 4 years, I have worked anywhere between 2 hours and 10 hours a week, just based on like what I needed for that season. It's looked different every year, and that's just awesome that I've had that flexibility. A couple years ago, I pretty much taught every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, and now I pretty much just teach at night. And next year, who knows, it might be different. Just I have the flexibility to do whatever works best for my schedule, where I can still be able to teach and enjoy that, but also see it works well for my family. So that's really the biggest pro. Awesome. Very, very few cons. If I had to pick one, it would just be that sometimes whether it's starting with a small company or whether you're with a big company that's inundated with teachers, you have the potential that when you want to teach, there aren't kids booking your classes, and sometimes it's out of your control. You can do things to try to help with that and try to get the kids to book your class, but it doesn't always happen exactly how you want. That's not really a huge con I'm experiencing at this moment, but it is a con that I've experienced at times here and there in the past. So I would say just online teaching, that's the biggest con. I guess it can't always be 100% reliable, but that comes with the awesome flexibility you have.
Totally. There's a take there. Totally
right, for sure.
Awesome. All right. And if you were to start out as an online teacher today, what is some advice that you would give yourself?
The biggest advice I would give is to just not be afraid to try something new. Whether it's a new subject area you want to try to teach, or a new time slot with different kids, or a new company, or whatever it could be. There's no harm in trying. The worst thing that can happen is you try it and it doesn't work out, and then you have to, try something else later. So there's, no harm in trying something new or branching out, because, just because you say you're going to do something doesn't mean it's going to be part of your life for years and years. It could be, something for just a season.
Gosh, I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up. I remember thinking, like, back in the VIP Kid days, I was like, gosh, am I going to do this forever? Like, it just seemed like, is this too good to be true, or do I really want it to end? I don't know if there was like this like conflict there of like, this is too much, that sort of thing. So I'm really glad that you bring that up, because there is so much room and space for trying something new.
Even with times that you're teaching, I know I used to teach pretty much every day of the week at like 6 a.m. to 7. And for a while I was like, am I ever going to be able to like sleep past 5:30 again? And then, just as times changed, my schedule kind of changed, and I don't really teach, a whole lot in the mornings now. I do more evening now, but nothing you do is
realize you have the power to do that.
Exactly. Right. And I probably will change back to in the morning eventually, because it's just,
Oh, good. All right. Well, Rockin', thank you so much.
Amazing, right? So I hope this is helpful for you. If you were sparked in any way by what you heard in this video, I hope that you'll leave a comment down below letting me know what you'll be doing in your teaching business this coming year. As always, if this is helpful for you, make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you out there. Happy teaching.